You guys, I am so excited for our guest today. Her name is Tiffany Cohen. She is the founder of Spirit and Soul Studios, which are located in Babylon, New York on Long Island. She's the author of the upcoming book, The Best Life Code, and she is the founder of the Billion Dollar Healer Method, which is a proprietary blend of modalities that help women transcend their limiting beliefs and step into their highest timelines. Today, we talk to Tiffany about how she started, her origin story, how she became this powerhouse that she is today, how she manifested her best life. And as we talk to her, what we found is that she really is just showing us the way. So you want to stick around. You want to hear everything Tiffany has to say. It could just possibly change your life. And make it to the end, Tiffany has a very special gift for each of us. So grab a cup of coffee, get in your comfiest spot, and settle in, because this one is one you don't want to miss. Let's go. Welcome to No More BullShift. I'm Peggy.
And I'm Marci.
We are two women who believe that life's trials aren't happening to us, they're happening for us.
And we're here to help you turn every why me into watch me.
Because shifting out of victim mode and into empowerment is what we do best.
So join us as we cut through the bullshift and help you see how strong you really are. I'm really excited about our guest we have today.
I couldn't be more excited if I tried, because I'm kind of a groupie, if I'm going to be honest. We are so fortunate to have Tiffany Cohen, who is the founder of Spirit and Soul Studios on Long Island. And she's also the Billion Dollar Healer. And yeah, we are about to come out of our woo-woo closet a little bit and talk all things manifestation, crystal energy healing, and really just living our best lives. So hi, Tiff. Tell us all about you.
Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you, Marci. Thank you, Peggy. And yeah, I'm excited to bring you guys out of the woo-woo closet. This is great.
Yeah, I mean, we've been like soft launching, but we haven't fully gone all the way out. So today's the day. It's time.
Okay. Well, I'm excited to be that one here with you guys. So yeah, I'm Tiffany Cohen. I'm known as a Billion Dollar Healer. I own Spirit and Soul Studio on Long Island. We are a virtual hybrid space. So we are a virtual and in-person space. And so we really serve everybody all over the world. It's amazing. We have classes, workshops. We help people to heal and manifest their best lives. That's actually on our walls at Spirit and Soul Studio. It says manifest your best life. And we're a big believer that you have every ability to create the life that you want. And so let's get to it by healing, by understanding who we are, by getting really self-aware and intentionally living. Because I think we live with blinders on, or we live in this world where we're not really seeing everything that's going on. And so what we do is we help people to kind of wake up to what is going on and to their magic in the world. And it's a really beautiful space. And we get to do meet a lot of amazing people and really do a lot of really great work. So
what I love about you, Tiff, is that you bring these spiritual concepts, right? And you really ground them into how do we live that out every day in our lives, where it's not some esoteric, like woo-woo thing that feels inaccessible or even, dare I say, weird. It feels very much like something you incorporate into your everyday life because it is. And so I'm super curious about your origin story. Have you always been somebody who was in love with crystals, who was in love with energy healing? I know you come from corporate America, but kind of talk to us a little bit about that, how you became the Billion Dollar Hero, or hero. Well, hero too.
I'll be the hero too. Yeah, so basically when I was 13 years old, I was given a tarot deck by my aunt. And ever since then, I started reading. I grew up in a I don't know if I would say like a spiritual household. I mean, I guess yes, but it wasn't like my house now. Like it wasn't covered in crystals and things like that. But, my mom did talk a lot about energy, and she talked a lot about, like mediums, and there was this aspect of the magical that was in our lives. And so even as a young kid, I mean, realistically, if I really think about it, this goes all the way back where I had an imaginary friend that actually wasn't so imaginary. My mom was like, I knew that he wasn't imaginary. Like as soon as you said, "Oh, Bo's here," she's like, the hairs on the back of my neck would stand up
Wow.
because I knew that he was an energy that you were experiencing. And I even had later on in life, just jumping forward a little bit, later on in life, I actually had a medium that picked up on my imaginary friend that wasn't so imaginary. Yeah. Yeah. So it's
So
like
do you
pretty.
think Bo's on your spirit team?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Bo's been with me my whole life. But yeah, so it's pretty amazing. So really since a kid, but actively doing this myself, I would say since I'm 13 with the tarot cards, I was reading in psychic fairs by the time I was 19. I was
Wow.
healing, doing Reiki healing.
Wow.
At 19. So I was really young. And then I decided, as we do, right, we follow that path of like what society tells us to do. And I graduated high school, went off to college, graduated college, and got the job and worked my way up the corporate ladder from the bottom to the top, did all the things. And I got married and, to the love of my life. I have, along the way had 2 kids. And one day I was sitting in my office and I had just gotten this promotion. And this promotion, I had, the corner office, the whole thing. And I had worked over the weekend and I could hear my kids. I remember feeling I was crying every day when I was leaving there. Like I didn't want this life. Like this isn't really what I wanted, but I was blinded by money, like I was getting, the multiple 6-figure salary and all the big bonuses. And it felt great to like have this kind of lifestyle. But there was a huge part of me that was trying to leave at every step of the way. And so I had gotten this promotion and I remember I could feel it as if it were yesterday. I was sitting down at my kitchen table and I could hear my kids playing outside with my husband. It was a Sunday. And I was like, what? Why am I here doing this work right now? Like I should be with my family. And then, but that's kind of like the trade-off. Like you want to make all that money. That was the trade-off anyway in corporate, right? You want to make all the money. You got to put in all those hours. You're going to work for that, baby. So that's what happened. And then I went into work the next day and I had worked over the weekend to get these reports done. And my boss goes into a meeting and it was like a board meeting and he comes out and he throws the papers on my desk and he's like, you better get your shit together. And I'm like, what is he talking about? Now I'm like already on the brink of like crying every day. Now I'm looking at it. I have no idea what he's yelling at me about, what he's talking to me about. And I try to chase after him to tell him that he read something wrong. And he just stormed off. But at this point, he had already yelled at me in front of my 20 employees, screaming. And I seriously did the walk of shame back to my office. And I was like, I couldn't even believe it. And I shut the door and I just started hyperventilating, crying. I could not catch my breath. I was like sliding down the door, like sitting on the floor. How the hell did I get here? I'm like looking at the office. I'm looking at everything that was supposed to give me happiness, supposed to give me the life, right? And I'm looking all around and I'm like, this isn't it. I'm not happy. And then finally, I heard it. I heard the voice and it was like, it's time. And I know now that that was my soul at that time. I was like, I think I'm having a nervous breakdown. I'm hearing voices, but in reality, it was my soul and it was saying it's time to go. And I leapt into action. Like, I was like, all right, I have to change my life right now. And I'm like, what am I good at? And I was like, all right, I'm good at cooking and I'm good at writing. And so that day, that night when I went home, I started a food blog. I started an entrepreneurial journey and I did not look back. Now, like I didn't leave there at that moment because I had a family to support,
Right.
but energetically, I was gone. Like physically, I still had to go in, but energetically, they had lost me. I was already on a new path, a new timeline. And so I started my own entrepreneurial journey. I came back to my roots of who I was. Like I put all the magic aside because I one time had said that I read tarot cards and everybody looked at me like I was crazy. And I was like, okay, I guess I shouldn't talk about this.
And you went into the closet.
And I went into the closet and because it made people uncomfortable. And then so I started on this journey and I started to come back to myself. I started meditating again. I bought myself a deck of cards again. And I was like, let's get into this because I need to feed my soul. I need to feed myself. And I started to heal little by little. I started to find myself little by little. And through this, I built an incredibly successful food blog. Like I had no idea what I was doing, by the way, not one bit. And I built a great food blog. And then I started to coach people, but I always had a spiritual edge to what I was doing. And so all of a sudden, I just knew one day, I was like, I am meant to teach spiritual classes and do like business. I do business coaching, but always with that soulful side to it. And so I was doing both of these things and it was taking off. And then I was guided to open up Spirit and Soul Studio virtually at first. It was only virtual. And then 6 months later, I found my space and we opened up and that was it. I never looked back. I ended up leaving corporate America when we opened Spirit and Soul about like the physical location about a month or two into it. I was still working, still trying to manage both, but it was during COVID. So I was able to kind of get away with it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but we opened it and it's been an amazing ride, and that is my becoming really, and still becoming. But I mean, it was definitely a journey, and it took about almost 5 years to go from that moment to opening up the space and leaving. But it was probably the best learning experience of my life.
Well, gosh, and what a trust journey you were on of trusting that intuition and trusting yourself, trusting the universe, and really taking all of these risks to be in alignment with your highest self when you had no proof it was going to pan out. You had no idea. And we talk so much about that, about embodying that future version of yourself that you see it, but you're too afraid to go for it. You don't trust that it's going to happen.
Yeah, I think it's great too. Like we all humans are given free will, right? We can make choices, but I do think sometimes like the universe, God, whatever you want to say, if you are not going on the right direction that you need to go, the world needs you to go, like you'll become so uncomfortable. Your boss will scream and yell at you and make you cry at work. And that's the universe being like, come on, sweetie, I've given you 25 signs. You haven't heard them. You haven't listened. You haven't tried. But now I really need you to go this direction.
And in astrology, that's Saturn saying, go, go, go.
Yeah.
And your body was telling you for so long, you know what I mean? Crying, going to work, watching your family longingly, like wishing you were there. And you're right. Like the world, America, whatever is like, no. When you make this much money, then you'll be happy. And then it pushes the goalposts further. Actually, it turned out to be this much money. Then you'll be happy. When you take this many vacations, when you have this big of a house or this kind of car or what, it's all this.
Yeah, it's all things that you need to strive for, and you can't just be. They try to teach you that you can't just be happy in the here and now, and that's just not the case. I mean, the thing is that we're meant to find gratitude in the here and now for what we do have, and yes, still strive for more, still reach for more. But there's nothing wrong with that, also, right? There's nothing wrong. I think that a lot of times it's like, well, you should be grateful. There's actually sayings that like, be grateful for what you have. Yeah, be grateful for what you have, but still want more. Like still want to reach that higher level version of yourself.
Right.
And I think that especially as women, like we kind of get told like to put a kibosh on a lot of our dreams and like, oh, it's so hard to have all of the things. Don't you have that mommy guilt? Don't you have, aren't you juggling so much? Aren't you exhausted? And it's like, yeah, but I could still do it, right? It's like, doesn't make it, but they try to just put it on you. And it's like, that is not it. You're meant to overcome that in order to create something beautiful in this lifetime. And I'm a very, very big believer that we all have multiple purposes in our lives, and multiple. And people say like my sole purpose, just one. I don't buy that. I think we have multiple. And you are meant to reach them. So if there's like something in your mind, something on your heart that is like drawing you out, it's like it lights you up inside, but you're like, oh, I'll never find the time. How am I going to find this? I'm so busy. That's an excuse for not going for what you want. Because if
It's
I can do
avoidance.
it, yeah, if I can do it with an infant and a toddler, working full time at a huge corporate, I had a lot of responsibilities there and all the things. If I can do it and make it work and build an incredible business, so can you. Maybe it's not a business for you, but it's something.
Yeah.
So what is it? You can do it. You just have to not make excuses for it.
Well, and we're all about nothing is wasted. Everything is working for you. And even that time that you were in corporate crying, right? And being like, I need to get out of here. I've got to find a way out of here. And then you started your food blog and, ultimately you pivoted. All of those things where you were attaining the skills you needed once you got into alignment, right? Because you had to take all of that hard work, all of that dedication, all of that determination, everything you learned in corporate America and apply it to building your own business. And then you had this food blog where I imagine you were like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing here. How do I get this out into the world and get people to watch or read or do whatever with this thing? All things that you needed when it was time to launch the big thing, right? So it was all building. And when you look in hindsight, you can see that and you can have appreciation for it. But if we can just be in appreciation right now, what is this teaching me? What is this giving me? What am I learning? It's going to make that journey so much less difficult.
And I love that your journey was like, I think some people think if they can't like quit the job, then start the thing, then what's the point? Like, oh, I guess I can't chase the dream. But I feel like you did a beautiful example of like kept working, kept an income, kept a career. And then like in those extra hours that maybe people would be scrolling normally, you were like putting it to work. You were like giving your brain a healthy, good, fun problem to solve that probably fed a part of your soul. And so you were doing a little bit of both. Was it extra work? Yes. But was it rewarding? Yes.
Yeah.
And I think so. Yeah. It doesn't have to be like black and white.
I was up at 3:30 in the morning. I'm not saying that didn't come with sacrifice. It came with sacrifice. Like it came with it. But I was no longer available to that life. And so that was a decision that I had made. I was no longer available to a life that I didn't love. And so if there are pieces in our lives that, like I had a beautiful family life. Okay, that's great. But that doesn't put a Band-Aid on the things that I don't like, the things that don't make me feel good. And especially, when you're going to work, and I was working, sometimes I'd be in there at 7 a.m., not leaving till 7 p.m. I mean, that's 12 hours of my day. And I just think that we are here on this earth and we get one life in this body, okay? And make the most of it, because the years that we get it's not that long. It's a blip. It is truly a blip, and you better at the end, when you are laying on your deathbed, you had better look back and have no regrets. And that was what I was happening. If I knew that if I would have stayed there forever, I would have regretted a huge part of my life that I didn't try something new, that I just stayed in it just because it felt uncomfortable to make a change. And so, Peggy, to your point too, like every single one of those things, like even though my boss and I always like to mention this, because even though my boss was hard on me and we had these things, I am so appreciative of him. Like he helped me to become the businesswoman that I am today. So, when I tell this story, it is my origin story and it has to do with him. I sometimes feel bad about it because I'm like, he's not the villain. He might be sometimes the villain, but I think he might have liked to play the villain sometimes, if I'm being honest. But I think that he was also always trying to make me a better person. In his mind, it was sometimes that was how you did it, but it was tough love, and he truly did shape me into the businesswoman that I needed to be. So I had to be there. I had to learn how to lead. I had to learn how to manage a staff, and
Yeah.
what that took, and all the different personalities, and who's this and who's mad at this person, and the deadlines and all the things. Like, I had to learn how to be that leader. And he
Right.
helped me to do that. And then when I started food blogging, I had no idea what I was doing. Not one thing, not one. I knew how to cook. That was it. And write. There was so much more to it. And so it was interesting because I had also, like, I was trying everything, like I did the food blogging. I even had like a little event business on the side. And what happened was, as I was opening up Spirit and Soul, and it was like a couple days before we were opening, and I remember setting up the tables and putting all the inventory out on the tables. And I was like, oh, well, I have to do, like, I think that we should do a leading line here. And I think I have to do like a rule of third here, like only put three things out because that's what catches the eye. And I like stopped myself for a second and I was like, wait a second, that's all that I learned food blogging for photography. Those are photography things. And then then I was like, well, yeah, we're having this big grand opening and that's an event planning thing. And then it's a business. So this is a business thing, right? And so I started to see, and like in that moment, I actually said to myself, Peg, like nothing is lost. Nothing is ever lost. I
It's so
needed
good.
every stepping stone to get there.
Love
And
that.
it was great. Like I still use all those concepts to this day.
Well, and I was
Love
just
that.
about to say that because you're getting ready. Well, you've written a book. So
Yes.
all of that writing, right? You
Mhm.
had to apply it. And those early morning hours, I mean, you were doing, this was your side gig, this writing of the book, right? In the
Yeah.
middle of building your brand, literally, like you've like taken off. And so you're managing that and you're managing this and you've got to work that book in. All of this was preparation for you to be able to not only live your highest self, but to bring your gifts into the world for the women that you serve. So when you are in alignment, I think it's amazing how the universe partners with you and co-creates with you to open it up to make those things happen, because everything was preparing you to say yes to the next thing, right? Yes. Okay, this feels in alignment. Yes. And then the universe said, okay, I'm going to open that door. I'm going to make this thing possible for you. I've already taught you, remember, how to do this. And I think it's just beautiful because that just tells you what you have to give is so much bigger than you, because it's all been able to work, right? And you feel you're working just as hard, if not harder, than you did in corporate America,
But
I
it's
would
so much
assume.
more fulfilling. Yeah, but it's so much more fulfilling. I'm definitely putting in more hours, that's for sure. But my thing was that I'll never ask for another day off. That was my why. That's what got me up out of bed every single day when I was in corporate. And so now I don't have to ask anybody for a day off. I'm just like, this is the day I'm taking off because I built this and I can do that. So like I fulfilled that, but there is nothing that has ever been as fulfilling in a work sense than building Spirit and Soul, than seeing people heal. Because that's what I do as the $1 billion healer. Like that's my proprietary healing method of using different subconscious modalities and energetic modalities and quantum activations in order to help somebody really like break through ceilings in their life. And when I see somebody all like come to a session with me and then all of a sudden they're having a massive breakthrough in their life, and I realized that I would not have been able to help that person, to facilitate that for that person, if I would have been on the floor of my office that day and did not make that decision. Would they have
So
gotten
true.
there? Right. And so I'm
And
so grateful every moment for that girl that was like sitting on the floor hysterical, couldn't catch her breath, crying, because she made a decision that now is so fulfilling, that helps so many people. Like we help so many people. I help so many people all around the world. Like I travel everywhere helping people to heal, manifest. Like this is a gift. This life is a gift.
I love that. And just like you said, like nothing is lost. And also, no one's behind, no one's late. If you're watching this video on YouTube or listening to it on Spotify or Apple or wherever, and you're like, oh, I've been in this crappy job for so long, I've been dragging my feet on my passions and my dreams, you're right on time, because every single difficult moment is teaching you something. It's growing you in some way. None of it's wasted. You're not behind. Like
No.
today's your day. You were meant to hear this right now at this divine time to wake you out of that slumber.
And that
Yeah.
girl that sat on the floor crying at the door, she had to go through that to recognize that in another woman to help her heal. So
Yeah.
even that moment was part of your journey. It wasn't to be avoided. It was to make you a more empathetic healer.
Yeah.
Listen, I mean, we all have a story, right? And so like this is part of my story, and we all have a story that is actually never meant to bring us down. It's never meant to be an anchor in our lives. The things that happen to us can be very unfortunate. They can be very like, why did this have to happen? But it did. So there's no avoiding the fact you can't go back and change the past. It happened.
Yeah.
And so what do you do from there? Are you going to make it a part of your story that is your anchor that held you back from every single thing in your life? Or are you going to have it be the thing that propels you forward? And we get stuck, and this is what I see the most. Everybody gets stuck inside of their stories. I actually have a group called The Rewrite to rewrite your stories, right? Like this is what it is. Yeah, because we all have these stories that we've been telling ourselves, and we don't even know that we're telling ourselves a story, that this is the story of my life. And so if you keep telling a story that everything happens to you and you are the victim and everything, you are in lack all the time, that is just a story. That is actually not your truth. Your truth, that's something you learned along the way. Your truth is that you are meant to be an abundant being. You're meant to have the most biggest, boldest, beautiful life possible. That is your truth. You've just chosen something else. You've chosen a different story. For me, I am choosing the story of my biggest, boldest self, right? And who that version is. But it is a choice every day. It's not just like, oh, I'm just going to wake up and the butterflies are flying all around and the birds are singing like Cinderella. No. Okay. Like this is a choice every day to get up and choose that version, because it is easy to stay in a version of you that is stuck. It is very easy, and blame everything else around you. It is very easy to stay in a version of you that other people told you you are. So now you think that's who you are. And it's very easy to choose that because most of the world is in it. And that is a collective consciousness. We are in a collective consciousness of victims. We're in a collective consciousness of low vibration people, because that's what society is, to be quite honest. I mean, that's around you. And so it is a choice every single day to choose a different life. But you choosing that different life creates such a ripple effect, not only in your own life, but in the world. And so the more you choose that, the better you feel, the better that your life feels. And it does not mean that it doesn't come with challenges. Like I have faced so many challenges on this journey, but it only helps me grow and become a better person. So why do we shun the challenges?
So how do you every day when you wake up, Tiff, if it's you've got these crazy days, very high energy, you've got to show up for other people, that you're not just showing up for you. Pretty much every day, somebody is depending on you showing up for them. And how do you do it on the days you don't want to do it? Because I am sure you wake up some mornings and you think, oh, I got to do it again. Like, how do you keep yourself regulated enough? And I know a little bit about your ritual game, and it is strong.
Yeah.
But that is also very intentional, to be able to be that dedicated and consistent to even the rituals you need so that you can do what you do. So kind of talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
And tell us how you do it when you don't feel like doing it.
Yeah. So I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm not like, I'm not trying to just say this just to say it, but I actually don't wake up any day saying I don't want to do this work. I will be honest with you on that. I really see it as a blessing every day. And I'm not even joking. Now that like, we're kind of like, I've never actually really thought about it before, but I think because where I was so unhappy with it, that with life, and it didn't mean that I didn't have friends and all that other stuff, but there was something that pulled my soul down. And so I get to do this every single day. And I know the space that I hold for people, and I know how people are relying on me, right? And so I don't take that lightly. And so every day I do get up ready, willing, able to support everyone around me. It is a blessing for me to do that, and I do see it as that way. Now, are there days that I'm tired? Yeah, sure, of course. Today actually was one of them. But I get excited to do the things that I do. Like it's exciting to do magic. It is exciting to hold space for people and see their transformations, and it's exciting to do something different. I think owning a shop in the way that we do it is exciting. It's fun. And so I get to and I get to work with my sisters, and this is a family affair. So this is really fun for me. But on the days that I am feeling tired, I do cater to myself. Like on the days that I do feel a little bit run down, or like after a really big event, right? So, or like something like that, like when I hold space for a ton of people, like I do retreats for like a lot of women around the world, like 50 women plus. And, holding space can be exhausting. I give myself that space, so it's not that I don't want to do it. I'm just like, okay, lay down, girl. You know what I mean? Like, and I will like happen that way. I get healings all the time. Like I have a lot of self-care that I do for me, for my soul, for myself. Like I get facials every month, and I do like certain things that like feed my soul, because I give, I need to give back.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good. So you almost schedule the downtime knowing like after this retreat, I'm going to need a reset.
100%. That is a non-negotiable for me. Like
I love that.
I need to, and like even like my assistant knows, like if I have something big, she knows 2 days after, do not book me for one thing, because I am going to be out of commission. Especially if I had to take a red eye home. There's something about a red eye that gets me every time. I can't do it. It sucks the life out of me. But I definitely will have 2 days where I'm just giving to myself, doing light things, right? Like if I have to do anything, it's light, but I do a lot of rituals, a lot of sleeping. I'll go and get, massage, things like that will feed me. But I make sure that I'm doing all of those things all the time.
And caffeine, I'm sure, also doesn't suck.
A ton, okay? I think I run on Starbucks. It's like part of my bloodstream.
No shame in that game. No shame in that game. So let's talk about the Pams in the world that maybe are hearing this and going, I hear everything you're saying and it all sounds good, but I can't even think straight enough right now to even see the way out of this crazy life I'm in. Maybe, they've got kids at home and a husband who's very busy, or maybe they're single parenting, or they're just in that corporate career and they don't have the opportunity to walk away. And, what would you say to them?
I would say that's a choice. That's a choice to live like that. And so every inaction is a choice. So you staying stuck in the life that you don't like, saying that your husband's so busy, that you're so busy, that is a choice to make that excuse for yourself. And this is where a little bit different, I think, than the normal spiritual, coach, because I'm not light like that. Like I will tell you how it is, and I'm going to kind of call you out on it. And I think sometimes we need to be called out on it. I like to be called out, right? So I like to somebody say, here's your blind spot that you're not seeing. It's you, right? So here's the most powerful thing that you can ever ask yourself in your life is, how am I the problem here? Because if you look around your life, you will look around your life and you will see every single thing that other people are doing to you, the situations, the economy, the state of the world. I mean, God, list them all out. They're all there and everybody's talking about them. But the thing is, how are you the problem? Because you can't control those things. And if you're the beauty of this is that if you're the problem, then you're the solution.
Yeah.
Okay. So that takes your power back. You give your power away when you blame every other person around you. You blame your life. You blame your kids. You blame your husband. You blame all of these things. You have to make a change. It's not about them. It's about you. So what could you do? What are you allowing that you shouldn't allow? Well, I'll give you a silly example, but it was not a silly example. I was going to this nail place. Okay. I would go to this nail place. I love getting my nails done, and I'm going to this nail place. And every single time I would go in there, I would always make an appointment. because I was short on time. And so I would make an appointment and I would go in there and they would take walk in after walk in before me. And they were, they wouldn't honor my time. And I'm like, so now I'm sitting down in something that's supposed to be relaxing. I'm fuming. And now I'm rushed, short on time. And this would happen every single time I went there. And I go every 2 weeks. Okay. So every other week I am getting angered, frustrated, all these things. And finally, I sat down in the chair, huffing and puffing. I actually started a fight with this guy. I was like, you never honor my time. And then I sat down in the chair and I just started looking around. And I said, how am I the problem here? Because it doesn't feel like I'm the problem. I feel like I'm doing all the right things. I'm calling, I'm trying to say, I keep going.
Exactly. You keep going back.
There's 1 million nail salons. Why do I keep coming back to this one? And so I manifested a new place that honors my appointment times. And I found it like that. And I've been going there ever since, and I absolutely love them. And I never feel stressed when I go there, ever, ever. And it's awesome. But I was the problem, not because I was causing the problem. Obviously, they weren't running their business correctly. However, I kept going.
Right. Every 2 weeks, you're showing up just for the same situation. Yeah. But it's such a good example, because isn't that what we do all the time?
Yeah.
We just keep putting ourselves back in the same situations, hoping we're going to get a different result, and blaming everybody else and not accepting the ownership of, well, why did you keep going back into that situation? You had the power to change it.
Yeah.
And I think it's like that with like human relationships too, right? You had an attitude of expectancy, like this nail salon should be this way. They're going to change to become what I think they should be. But they're not. They're a nail salon for walk-ins, and that's their pace, not for a professional that needs a time slot,
Yeah.
And so I think it's the same. Like if your child's really frustrating you or whatever, you have to own and realize they're not going to change. This is their personality or whatever. And you need to figure out a better way to like integrate with this.
Yeah.
Versus keep thinking they should be different. They should be different. This should be different.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like, even in that situation, well, how am I the problem here? What energy am I putting out there to my kids? Am I always stressed out? And so they're always stressed out. Am I always angry or frustrated? And so they're feeling that energy from me, and then they act out because they don't know what to do with it. And I'm not saying it's always, the parents' fault, but we have to also see how our energy does affect the household. Actually, my coach has a picture on his wall when you walk in that says, like, the energy that you bring into my home is your responsibility.
Yeah.
And I love that, because it's like, yeah, you have to like understand who you are as you are in, how you're operating in the world, and what energy are you putting out there. And if you're always stressed out, everybody around you is going to feel that and feel stressed out too.
Yeah, you're going to get it back for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that whole boomerang effect of what you're putting out is coming right back out, is coming right back to you. So you said something really interesting, though, around the nail salon. You said, I manifested a new nail salon. So what did you do? You just like magically said, okay, universe, I need a new nail salon where they're going to honor my time and my appointments. And I'm not going to go through this all over again. Or what did you do? Or did you have some big seance at your house? Like, what did that look like, Tiff, when you manifested
Not for the nail
that?
salon. I don't do that for the nail salon. It was just like in my mind, like, I'm manifesting a nail salon that does this, this, and that. And I'll talk to people about it, and they'll be like, you know what nail salon does that? This place. And I'm like, great, thank you. Let me go give it a try. And they were great, So like, that's how that happened. But there are ways that you can manifest in the most amazing, effective, magical ways. And it really is all about intention. I mean, there's so much that I believe that there's so much that does go into manifestation. I think that the TikTok and Instagram way of manifestation leaves out a lot of the really important parts, especially when it comes to the big things. But I do believe that there is a method to it, and that there is magic to it, and that you can really manifest anything that you want, as long as it's in alignment with you and you're willing. You're a willing participant on the journey to the manifestation. So if it's asking you to pivot, if it's asking you to let go of something because you can't hold the space for what you want with the things, with the relationships or with the job that you have or whatever it is, you have to be willing to let go. But I'm a believer you can manifest anything you want in your life. That's what actually, that's like your special gift as the bridge between heaven and earth, right? Or you could say heaven, you could say universe and earth, right? That you are the bridge. You are this magical wand. You're a magic wand, you know? So like you say, and the universe will conspire in your favor to start to make it happen.
Yeah. I agree with that. Like, this is a silly example, but I'm going to give it. Yeah. Every year, so I used to never be allergic to poison ivy, ever. And I could pull it out with my bare hands. And I really kind of like got a little sassy about this. I was like, look at me go. Well, all of that changed like 3 years ago, head to toe, covered in poison ivy. Could not get rid of it. It was the most miserable summer. And we have tons of it in our gardens. And so I have gotten smart and I spray before we're going to do our yard work. Well, I did all of that and we're in the yard working this weekend. And I just knew, like, sat in it, touched it. And I kept telling I told my husband, who's also very allergic, I'm like, all right, I've already sacrificed myself. Stay away from it. I'll get it all out. So now I had gloves on and stuff, but I'm pulling it all out. And the whole time I am saying, you don't have poison ivy. You are not allergic to poison ivy. You do not have poison ivy. You are not allergic to poison ivy. For 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, I don't have a drop of poison ivy on myself. And I am telling you, I touched it. I know I did. And nope, I am free. And I told my husband, he's like, you are so screwed. I'm like, no, I'm not. I told my body, you don't have it. Like, you have the choice here. You don't have it.
I love that. Yeah. I mean, the mind is such a powerful tool. The mind is actually wired to do what you tell it to do. Mm-hmm. And so if you tell it to see something, to do something, even if you told it to yourself at the age of 3, right? It will hang on to it if it thinks it's keeping you safe, if that's what you want. And so it's such a powerful tool to use for good. Because a lot of times we're using it subconsciously, not for the things in our favor. And so for good to say, I don't have poison ivy. I don't have poison ivy. My skin is clear. My skin, right? Like, you keep telling yourself these things. I'm a believer that it will happen. That it
I 100%.
Yeah.
You can heal yourself with thought. Like I mean, our Power of 8 group is completely about that. But yeah, no, we underestimate it. And what's so interesting is we think manifestation is this big woo-woo concept, right? We are literally manifesting every single moment we are living, one way or the other, whether we're consciously doing it or we are, subconsciously or unconsciously. I don't know which way is the right way on that one, but whatever. You know what I'm doing it unintentionally. But we are creating that. So why not do it for good? Because we're certainly doing it in those scenarios that are less than ideal.
Right.
So fuck around and find out. Like, what does it hurt?
And it goes back to that, like, how am I the problem? Also, like, how are you the good in this situation? How are you
the
creating
solution?
This life that you love, all the elements you love, and maybe that kind of also coincides with like loving the life you have made right now, and also getting excited about this future life you're going to create.
Yeah. I think that like finding the gratitude like in your life is the most powerful thing. And they say, gratitude is a magnet for miracles. We literally have an oil at Spirit and Soul called
Wearing it now.
For Miracles.
I wear it every day.
So good. I love it. It's so good. But it truly is. Gratitude is the magnet for miracles. And so when you can sit in your life, even when it feels heavy, even when there's a lot going on, and it feels like the world is like coming down on you. Like, if you can sit back for a second and be like, find the moments that you're grateful for, you will begin to see more of them because you're tuning your mind into those things. The more you worry about things in your life, if there's anybody here that's listening that has anxiety and any of those things, you are pointing your mind and your life to a future that you don't want. So, and you keep just staying in worry and in fear over this, you're going to create it because you are focusing on it. And so you just say, not my truth. That's what I do. I get anxiety too sometimes. And I'm like, not my truth. that's not my timeline. That's not my truth. And I just immediately start to block it out because the mind that's its job. It's actually the mind's job is to keep you safe. The subconscious mind, your nervous system, it is that part of your body energy field's job to keep you safe, keep the human alive, right? And so the human alive means keeping them away from things that don't feel safe, that aren't familiar, right? And all of these things. So the mind is always constantly pulling you backwards, trying to keep you away from these things. You have to then say, and then it wants you to see the bad because it wants to keep you safe from anything outside of it. And even if things are going on, you're like, I don't like this is uncomfortable. It's going to keep you there because it's known. So if you can start breaking out and make the unfamiliar familiar, you will then you will tell your nervous system, tell your mind, your energy that this is actually safe for me to do. And you'll start to now create more things to be grateful for. You'll start to see more things that light you up, that start to bring you joy. And then you'll see more of that and less of the other stuff. It doesn't mean it's not going to be there, but you start to see less of it. And then it changes your life.
Marci has a really good saying with anxiety, Mars, that it lives in the future.
Oh, yeah. Anxiety always lives in the future. Guilt and shame are in the past. But always in this moment, you're just fine. This is safe. This is now. It's all like future fears, phobias, that kind of thing. And you're exactly right. It is like the human brain wired to keep you safe. That's creating that. And it was great at a time. Like our brains were like, oh my gosh, a saber-toothed tiger might be out of the cave. We better stay in the cave. Like there's, we don't want to totally turn it off. If we're in a dark alley and we hear footsteps, we should probably turn around to look, Yeah. But it's that, you're right. It's not really necessary for us to be constantly running on anxiety and fear.
Yeah.
And I listened to another interview you did, and you talked about how like from childhood, let's say you were trying out for a sports team and got rejected or something. And so then you have this mental old school connection wired in your brain. Like when I try something new, I might get rejected and it might feel terrible. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So basically what happens is throughout your life, you experience many, many different things, right? We have all these stories, all these things that happen. And it could even be things that didn't even happen to you. It could be things you saw in the news or things that you watched other people go through. And those things, when they're too overwhelming on the nervous system, they actually form like a knot in your energetic field, and it will form a story in your subconscious mind that this is too much for me. This felt unsafe. This felt scary. This felt, I was rejected. I felt unworthy. I felt unloved. And we start to we tell our mind, I never want to feel like that again. Right. And the mind's like, okay, keep the human alive, right? So remember, that is always the factory setting that your nervous system is going to keep coming back to. And so every time you experience it, because there is something called a karmic loop, right? So it's up to you now to start to overcome these things, because these things will now become a ceiling for you in your life. And so the more that you can recognize every time that you feel fear or rejection or something like that you don't stop yourself, the quicker you're going to push through it. But the thing is, when something is buried in the subconscious mind and we don't know where it's tied to, we will always self-sabotage until we get rid of the root cause. And the root cause generally is from when we're kids. Generally, a lot of times, usually it's before the age of 7, but sometimes it can be, after that as well. But generally before the age of 7, we basically have our stories set in stone. And we will loop them through until we recognize them and let them go. And then once you do, and you're like, okay, wait, I'm an adult now. It's really like, that's kind of what you have to say. Like, I'm not 6 years old anymore. I'm an adult and I can make this decision for myself, or I can see this now with logical eyes. Because how scary is it that you're making all of your stories without basically a logical mind formed, right? There's no logic in children, really, for the most part. And so they can't logic their way out of something that felt overwhelming to them on their nervous system. They can't apply the logic and say, well, my mom did that because she was feeling overwhelmed. She doesn't know that, right? They don't know that. They just like, mom said this, or this girl was mean to me, right? And it's just like the logic there is that kids are freaking mean sometimes. Like, that's just it. Like, sometimes they don't even need a reason. Like, they're just
Yeah.
mean. And so, like, we
Right.
logic our way out of it as a kid. And so now we just know that we can't be seen, or we told ourselves a story that sometimes if I'm seen, somebody will say something mean to me. And so I won't try something new, or if I won't put myself out on Instagram for my business because it's scary to be seen. And until you get to the root cause and clear it out, that's like the work that I do through the $1 Billion Healer method, or through my coaching. Until you do that, you are going to kind of keep looping through it. Now, what I actually did do is I have a gift for your listeners.
Oh.
If you want to just follow me on Instagram at I'm Tiffany Cohen, and you just DM me the word reset, you'll get my subconscious reset guide. It's like a workbook that you can do, and you can start to see how some of the patterns in your life maybe are showing up in your world. And all that it is awareness. Awareness is the secret sauce. I talk about this in my book, The Best Life Code, that's coming out in fall, the secret sauce to all of the things is being self-aware. So as long as you can start to see yourself, see your patterns, see your triggers, see how you do things great, see how you manifest really easily in your life, and you are that magic wand, right? Once you start to see those things, you can't unsee them. And so you can actually start to create more change in your life. So it's really powerful.
Well, Tiff, I just want to thank you so much for your time today. And I know you've got a big event coming up. So why don't you tell our listeners, because I know that they could join virtually, and I know I am going to be. So I know I made it work for the one day. Wish I could come in person. I'm so sad I can't. But why don't you tell our listeners about that, about your book that's coming out, how they can work with you if they want, because you do a lot of virtual healing sessions. So fill us in.
Yeah. So I have the Unlimited Experience coming up on June 13th through Spirit and Soul Studio. This is going to be a powerful day. Think of it as a conference. It's going to be a powerful day of transformation. We have speakers coming in from all over to really bring knowledge to help you to clear out any of these old stories, any stuck patterns, to start to recognize it so that you can start to create massive shifts in your life and step into the version of you that is limitless, because you are limitless. You just have to open your eyes to it. So that is a full day on June 13th. You can join in person in Babylon, New York, or virtually. And the virtual ticket is only $150 for an entire day of like transformation. It's going to be incredible. I highly suggest it. Also, there's a replay. So even if you can't make it, just get it and watch it when you can, because it will be so valuable to you. I assure you. So that's coming up. You can go to spiritandsoulstudio.com/unlimited. And you can follow us at Spirit and Soul Studio. We have a ton of, information on there that, you'll learn a little bit more about it and who's going to be there and stuff. We have Kathleen Cameron Rogers, all the Spirit and Soul crew. So it's going to be amazing. And then we have the Best Life Code that's coming out. That's my book coming out in fall. I'm so excited for that. That is, what my formula is for creating your best life, and some tactical tools that you can use to start to incorporate it. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of stories in there and ways for you to really make those shifts in your life. It's easier than you think. So, yeah. And then you guys can work with me. You can follow me, like I said, at I'm Tiffany Cohen on Instagram. That's where you're going to probably get me the easiest, I would say. And you can see all the ways you can work with me through the $1 Billion Healer method and many other different healing modalities, the classes that we have at Spirit and Soul. We do everything virtual and in person. So we want to make sure that we're reaching the most amount of people as possible. I would love to invite you into the Spirit and Soul family. You can even take a class with us for free if you head on over. It's not going to be for unlimited, but any other first class with us is free. So you can just use the code free class and put that into whichever one you want to be a part of. And
I have done those classes and they are amazing. They're so good. And one thing she didn't mention is on Monday nights, she does a live sale that even my husband is addicted to, because he's been on enough road trips with me where I'm like, we're turning it on. And he's like, are you listening to the girls tonight? I'm like, I am. And normally I take a bath and do it, but where Tiff will go through, the store, the crystals, all that. But I am telling you, you learn so much. It's so fun. There's always a fire playlist. She always has somebody there with her who's also super fun from the team. And it is like a little party every Monday night. I love it. 8:30, Steve knows I'm done. I'm doing my live sales.
I love it. Thank you so much, Peg. Yeah, every Monday night it's 15% off plus. I'm always like crazy on the
Last
sales.
night was great.
Last night was great. I know.
For your birthday, which happy birthday, Queen. Yeah, happy birthday.
May 31st. So just passed. Yeah. So, I'm Gemini Queen. But
So is Marci.
Yeah. I think that the Monday night live sales are so much fun because it's seriously like we turn the camera around. We just are ourselves. Like Peg said, we always have like a great music on. We're always dancing, having fun, but also talking about the crystals, talking about ways that you can work with the crystals, utilize them. So if you have known nothing about crystals and you're just want to come and hang out or you're curious, this is your time to do that.
Yeah, you will learn so much about even more than the crystals, really. Mm-hmm. I mean, honestly, it's so great. So, and Tiff has an amazing team of healers as well. So, it really is great. And if you are in Long Island, they are in Babylon. So make sure you stop by because it is a really special experience. Well, we could talk to you all day and I'm sad we can't. But as we have already mentioned, we are all busy women. So thank you. Such great wishes for your book, for your unlimited experience. Can't wait to be a part of that. And maybe we'll have you on for a part 2 at some point. So
I would love that. Thank you so much. It was my honor to be here. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Take care. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye.
All right. That's our shift for today. Go live, laugh, and do one bold thing before the next episode drops. Follow us at No More BullShift and keep the conversation going. Because if you can't laugh about it, you probably still need to shift it.